Hey, what's happening, everybody? This pretentious asshole is live. And trust me, that's going to be a lot funnier once I give you the context of it. But first, we got to get our drink ready, right? So, last week we were drinking white tequila. And I tell you, that crap was disgusting. But we're moving along to brown tequila this week. Basically, the exact same bottle. But instead of tequila blanco, we move on to tequila anejo. I don't know. I'm not Spanish, so I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, but it's still 80 proof. So I'm pretty much going to get effed up today. Pretty much any of your hard liquor, yeah. Ugh, horrible. So this was supposed to be sort of a celebratory live stream a little bit. 2.5 weeks ago, I put out a little announcement. I was able to pay off my house, which was incredible, right? And so I was gonna make this a sort of drinking and smoking type of video. You guys know I'm not really a drinker. I only drink on live stream with you guys. I'm definitely not a smoker. I'm not even sure I know how to smoke, but I went to the store and got myself a couple of cigars for celebratory reasons. So got my cigar here, and I'm gonna try not to choke to death on the freaking cigar today. But before we do get into the smoking and drinking in today's video, today's live stream, um, there are a couple of somber notes to start off the video, and it's really sad. A couple of deaths that I wanted to touch on beforehand. So, hey Eddie, hey, thanks, brother, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. First one I wanted to bring up is actor Julian McMahon, and I don't know if he died July 3rd or July 4th. And July 4th, I'm gonna harp on that a little bit shortly as well. But I'm a huge fan of Julian McMahon, so obviously I knew him best from portraying Balthazar, aka Cole Turner, on seasons 3 through 5 of Charmed. So, you know, fantastic character, seasons 3 through 5, the best seasons, in my opinion, of Charmed. And when he was killed off the show permanently, heartbreaking. I freaking hated that. The show rocked when he was part of that cast. And then later on, you know, what was it, 5 seasons, I think, of Nip Tuck. Incredible show, one of the top 10 best shows ever, probably. And of course, for Marvel fans, Dr. Von Doom on Fantastic Four for movies. I think 2007, if I got the year right. He was back for part 2 as well. Oh, oh God, that's bad. Sorry. Not a tequila fan myself, so drinking scotch. Hey, John, I'm glad to hear that, buddy. you know, in the last, however long I've been doing these live streams on a weekly basis, 3 months, I'm gonna say, you're the first person that actually has said that you've actually tuned in and actually been drinking with me. So that's pretty freaking awesome. I'm always hoping that folks are actually drinking with me at the same time, getting drunk with me at the same time, because I kind of goof off on live streams, and these live streams are supposed to be stupid, humorous, actful, and it's all about having a good time, right? You want to have serious conversations, you want to have fun conversations at the same time, talk about nostalgia, talk about fun times and whatnot. You can be goofy and stuff at the same time. And cheers. I tried scotch a couple times, wasn't a fan of whiskey, but being in Kentucky, it's odd that I never have bourbon on hand. But I was looking for the bourbon my wife and I, we just bought a wine rack, and that thing is just loaded with liquor bottles and wine bottles and whatnot. And I was looking for bourbon today. I'm like, all this freaking all this booze that we bought a few weeks ago, and no bourbon. I'm like, wow, okay. But our next run, we're definitely gonna have to go out for that stuff. Hey, Rick, what's happening, buddy? Hope you're well. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Yeah, shoot. My wife, she had her cat, Missy, that she got back in 1992. Had that cat for 19 years, and she died in 2011 while I was in Afghanistan. And my wife and I, we married in 2005. So, I plus, we were together in high school. So, I knew of Missy for like what? So I was 17. She died in 2011. So that would have put me at 26. So I knew Missy for 9 years. I mean, obviously, I wasn't as affected as my wife was because literally that was like her daughter of sorts. But, since then, if you include Missy of all the other cats, we had like 6 other cats since then, and we're down to 2 now. So it's pretty sad. Right now, the oldest cat, Fox, we consider him to be our marriage cat. We got him in 2005. So, he's still kicking. That darn cat's probably gonna outlive us all. He's pretty darn spry, pretty darn healthy for a 20-year-old cat. And our youngest, she's 14. So she's basically the kitten that my wife got to replace of sorts, Missy when she was gone in 2011. So hey Eddie, that's good news, buddy. Cheers, buddy. Hey Irish, what's happening, buddy? Hey Irish, bud, every time you tune into my views, man, I know you ask me about it. Once my live stream is up, I know that your live stream is always active right after mine ends, and I always tune into your videos. And sometimes, man, like I'll go into the room next door, the purple room I call it. I'll have your one of your older live streams on my TV, and then I'll watch your active live stream on my cell phone because on my actual cell phone I can actually comment onto your live stream. Um, but dang, like I'm so out of it by that point. Like I'll sit there and listen to both, but I kind of pass out sometimes. So I'm kind of in and out of consciousness if we're being honest. But I do try to comment as much as I can. But it is good stuff. I like listening to those. It's interesting, especially when you talk about like TNA and stuff. So far, like a month ago, I watched on Netflix wrestling. I think on Monday, I think it was Raw. It was like the first time I watched wrestling in like 25 years, and I thought like, damn, that's awesome. So different than what I grew up watching. So much different. Actually, longer, 28 years. I think 97 was probably the last time I watched actual wrestling on TV. So, so crazy, right? Most whiskeys, bourbon, nice, especially the smoky kinds. Nice. Yeah, I just started drinking. Like, I got home, like, I left Iraq in January of 22, and I didn't start drinking right away, but that's probably like the first time like I really started drinking more actively. Like when I say I drank once in a million years beforehand, pretty much accurate. Like I was never a drinker. And even today, like I said, I don't drink outside of these live streams. So last week I had a pinch of that white tequila for lunch just to kind of give it a taste to see what it was like, before the live stream that day. But generally, no. I was never a fan of tequila or a fan of alcohol in general because, simply put, I didn't like the taste. No other reason. I mean, I wasn't against drinking. I just didn't like the taste, plain and simple. It's not like you're drinking water or drinking orange juice or milk or something. It doesn't go down easy. So I was always under the simple thought that, why are you going to drink something that's going to make you sick, taste terrible, and is expensive? Like I said, gallon of milk, what, $2.50, $3? A bottle of alcohol, hard liquor is like what, $20, $30, $50, depending on what brand you buy, what size you buy, etc. So, but I like this. It's become tradition now to kind of drink on these live streams. So it's another. It gives me another reason why to do these live streams. It's interesting. Plus, I like the feeling of being drunk afterwards. So I kind of label myself a fun drunk. You're either a nasty drunk, a rude drunk, mean drunk. That's a better word. You're a mean drunk, or you're a fun drunk. Uh, and I kind of think of myself as like a fun drunk. I mean, I just become sleepy afterwards, really. But I mean, like, I'm not like all nasty afterwards. um, hey, Irish, absolutely, buddy. Mm. Also, guys, you guys know that I am a Cubs fan. I'm a Cubs fan, but irrelevant. I am not one of those guys who are like, you're a Cubs fan, so you can't root for any other baseball team. I don't like that. I feel like I'm born and raised in Chicago, right? And I feel like whatever is good for the city of Chicago is good for the city of Chicago. And recently, try to get the smoke over this way. I just heard that Bobby Jenks, former closer of the Chicago White Sox, I think he was like in Guam or the Philippines or something, and he just recently died at the age of 44 of stomach cancer. "44 years old." This young guy, man. I keep hearing about all of these, wrestlers, young men in their 30s, early 40s, and stuff dying, and it sucks. But like, you think baseball players? Yeah, it's a long 162 game season, but it's still a children's game, right? You don't think that it takes that much on the body compared to the stressors that something like as physical as like football or even hockey takes on the body, or wrestling takes on the body. So you think like something like soccer or baseball or basketball, it's not as hard as something like that, something like those contact sports. But when it's something like cancer, heart disease, things like that. Uh, Cubs legend, third baseman Ron Santo, he died from diabetes. That stuff sucks. Bobby Jenks, in 2005, he burst onto the scene. He was a rookie. In 2005, I was my first real year in the Army. I mean, yeah, I joined right after high school in 2004. So Yeah, that was my first official year, right? But that was going through basic training. That was going through AIT. So at the end of the year, 2004, I made it to Fort Hood. That was my duty station. But 2005 was in Fort Hood, my duty station. That was like my first official year because that wasn't in training. That was in my duty station, actually doing my job. And I got married that year, and my wife moved out to Colleen to live with me. We got our first apartment together, and we used to get the Colleen Daily Herald delivered to our apartment. And I, obviously kept up with baseball and whatnot. And when I got the newspaper that day saying that the White Sox had won the World Series, given at that time, 2005, the White Sox hadn't won the World Series in like 86 years or something. Insane, right? White Sox just winning the World Series in 05 when I'm in Colleen, uh, a year after I leave Chicago. I freaking hated that. I'm like, you guys couldn't do this in 2003 or any year prior while I was still living in Chicago. 2004 wouldn't have worked either because in 2004 I would have been AIT in the fall. So I would have been in the Army at that point. So that wouldn't have worked for me. But 8004, it would have been, and you know what? This is the thing right there. Think about it this way. If Steve Bartman, if that whole incident didn't happen and the Cubs take Bartman out of it, it was a foul ball. If Alex Gonzalez didn't drop that ball at shortstop, if the Cubs didn't give up 8 runs to the Marlins in that inning, if the Cubs didn't lose that game, if they didn't come back and lose the next game, they could have easily won either game. They would have broke their 95-year lost World Series drought in 03. The Red Sox could have won in 04. The White Sox would have won in 05. 3 curses would have all been broken in back-to-back years, right? So that was something. But you can root for their teams as long as they are not the Cardinals. Hey, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. But I'll tell you one thing. When I go back and I've talked about it before in my live streams, 2016 when I was in Afghanistan, and you know, for Mantech in the early 2010s, in the mid 2010s, to late 2010s when I was with Lockheed Martin, 2020s, like back with Lockheed Martin again, I had always worked for SF, whether it was Afghanistan, Kuwait, Iraq, Syria. And in this time, 2016, 2017, I was with Lockheed in Afghanistan. And that morning, I was in the day room because we're at the start of the workday, watching that last play. It one of the hardest things I've ever had to done was holding a tear when I saw Chris Bryant field that play. When I saw him have that big, beautiful smile on his face and dish it out to Anthony Rizzo, holding that in, keeping that tear in. Oh my God, I didn't ever think I'd live to see the day that the Cubs would win the series. Probably one of the most exciting days I will ever relive or ever think about. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted in the beginning of this video, this live stream, kind of give a remembrance for Julian McMahon and Bobby Jenks. Neither man lived a full life. Bobby Jenks, 44. I think Julian McMahon was like 56 or 58. Or I think it was like 56. So, both were young men. They both had decades worth of life left in them. So, my introduction to you guys. What the hell did that mean? Damn. So, couple of about 2.5 weeks ago, we were able to. I pulled some. I closed some accounts, 401ks and whatnot that I've had built up over the last decade and a half or close to it. And Fidelity, what was the other one? Empower, etc. All the money combined in one. Had some checks sent out to me, and I've talked about it already. I think you're supposed to wait till like you're 55 or 65. I don't know, but you pay a fee for taking that money out early. But I finally had my house payment payoff amount low enough where if I took the money that was available, I could pay off the house. And I'm like, outstanding. So I got to check in, try to take it to the bank. Bunch of issues there. So I ended up having to mail the check off, and frustrating. I made a video about that as well. And I was able to pay off my house. Excited. Absolutely through the moon, ecstatic. Today, I wanted to have a celebratory celebratory cigar. Damn, am I drunk already? And I don't smoke. I don't like smoking. I don't like the smell of smoke. Right. Funny story with my dad. I'm going to talk about that in just a second too. So I went. I got a couple of cigars. I'm not a smoker. Again, I don't even know if I know how to smoke properly. I don't know how to take cigarette smoke into my lungs or anything, but whatever. I'm not a smoker. This isn't something I'm going to do on a consistent basis. So went to the store, got a couple cigars, and I'm like, you know what? I got myself a fine whiskey bottle or scotch or whatever. I want to get myself a scotch. Again, this isn't scotch, but just an example. I'm going to get myself a cigar. You know what? I'm a fine gentleman. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to get myself a suit and and a tie and look all fancy as a fine gentleman. My wife is such a freaking asshole. My wife is. I love my freaking wife. She is so freaking awesome. She says to me, "No suit. You're gonna look like a pretentious asshole." I can always depend on my wife to keep me in line. Fucking asshole. I'm like, wow. All right, man. I'll just have a damn beer and a damn cigar then. Damn. Why won't you stay lit? You can tell I'm not an avid smoker because I can't even keep this bitch lit all the time. But yeah, I kind of feel like there are certain instances in life where a man deserves a cigar. When you have a new baby, you deserve to get yourself a cigar. It's your wedding day. I feel like you deserve a cigar. If it's a major accomplishment like a house payoff, I feel like that's a good day to have a cigar. Hell, even like a college graduation or something, I feel like that's a good day for a cigar. So, yeah, I'm not against smoking or anything. I just feel like for the right cause, for me personally, I mean, if for those out there who smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, if that's what they want to do, go for it, man. I mean, I'm not a smoker, but I'm not gonna say that other people who enjoy it, if that's their vice, all the power to them. I don't know how much cigarettes cost. What is it, like $5 a pack? I remember back when I was like 16, 17. Well, technically, I got my job when I was in between freshman and sophomore year, so I was 16 years old, And yeah, so the summer, so I got my job in July of 2001. So I just finished freshman year. I was going into sophomore year. I was 16. I got my job at Sara Lee in Chicago, and I kept that job until I graduated high school, and then I left for the Army. And the girl I worked with, she was in her 50s, and she'd always come into the store and always complain because people would always want to bum a cigarette off her. I'm not giving you a cigarette for $4 a pack. But yeah, this was like back in like early 2000s, like between 2001 2004. So yeah, yeah. Hmm. Any new wrestling figures you got this week? Hey Eddie, it's good that you asked. And as a matter of fact, I do actually quite a number of well, not quite a number. Well, I guess you could call it a number. There were a bunch of new Remco figures I got in. Now, nothing, nothing specific. Nothing different than what I already owned. I'll specify shortly. I did get some new Ram Treasure figures in, not from Ram Treasures directly. Again, I will specify shortly. I got two new figures from Grapples and Gimmicks, Quang and that pirate guy. I don't know who it is. From Grapples and Gimmicks, man, I'm not even paying attention to who I'm ordering. It's just I just know that they got new figures out, and I just buy them. And I used to order two of them. One I'd open up and display loose, and I'm not even doing that anymore. Like I'll buy one set for carded collection, and if I could find them on eBay for an auction, I'll try and buy them loose or something. Or if I buy them carded, so be it. But at $40 a pop, I just don't think they're worth that, and they're not. They're like $15 to $20 figures, if we're being honest. Mattel Retros, what are they selling for? $15 each, right? You buy a 4-pack, $60. That's what they should be selling for. But zombie sailors and figure something, wrestle something wrestlers, and all these companies are $40 a pop, and they're not those prices. Well, I talked to Ahmad over at Latuni, and he mentioned if you're interested in starting your own wrestling line, maybe start with Hasbro's. They're smaller, the materials are easier to make, and it's probably easier to sell those figures than the more expensive, LJN rubber figures. But I'm like, you know what? There's just so many Hasbro type companies out there that I may not be interested in making Hasbro's, even though they're my personal favorite line. And I don't want to sell, my Hasbro figures for $40. If anything, half that, $20 max. But I'd want to get them out for around $15, $20, right? So what can the factory make them for? $7? Okay. If they can make them for $7 each, including bubble, including, packaging to the card, everything, I can sell them for $15, $20 max and be happy with that. But let's say I got to sell them on eBay because I can't sell them on, Facebook or whatever, because I don't have my own personal account, my own personal website. I got to pay someone to create a website for me. I don't want to do that. But again, this is stuff that I'm thinking about. As a matter of fact, let me read these comments real quick. 59.5 officially, but there is the equal periodic payments route. Yeah. So I knew it was somewhere between there. One of these wrestlers. So just this morning, I put out a Facebook page or Facebook message. So I put it on my Facebook page, I don't have like an official. Like I tried creating like a Waddy's channel Facebook page, but like instead of putting stuff on that, it all my posts go on to Matthew Watson, as my primary. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I haven't done anything with a Waddy's channel page. So that one's basically barren. Whatevs. Um, I also put it up on like 1977 LJN Men, or I think it's called. I also put it up on the LJN um, fan page, or I think that's LJN Wrestling, whatever the fan page is. I don't know. It shouldn't be hard to find. And I basically asked the question to all the LJN custom fans and buyers out there. Basically, hey, here are some that Sin Bodhi is designing for me. Based on these designs, is this something that you guys would be interested in buying? If the answer is yes, this is what I'm thinking. I don't want you guys to buy these items as pre-order because I don't want to be Zombie Sailors toys. I don't want you guys to sit around for 8 months, a year and a half waiting for these figures to arrive so that I can ship them out to you. If, for example, let's say 500 people or 1,000 people responded, yes, I would buy this item. Or yes, I would buy every single one of these figures from you, for example. Then I would say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to invest my money. I'm going to create the molds, find a company that can mass produce these, like Latuni or something. Buy, if 1,000 people, 1,000 figures of, so and so. Get them all in. Have them physically on hand. Then create the listings for them so that buyers, when they buy them, all I gotta do is ship them right out to the person. And I'm not selling them for no $150 for custom figures. It's going to be packaged and carded just like Latuni, so forth. So it's like real LJN cards and not just bagged figures or whatever. That's what I want, and I want them for $50 figures like Latuni, like Big Rubber Guys. I don't want them to be no $125, $150 figures. And I want them to be legitimate rubber figures, not resin. So that's what I want. Those are my expectations. So far, I have no comments or anything on that on any of those platforms, any of those postings that I made. So it could be a pipe dream, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to get some kind of responses, and what I'm hoping is someone responds on there, hey man, I would buy it. And then 500 people hit like on that comment. And that tells me, hey, 500 people would buy this. But right now it's just me. It's Bone Breaking Action. It's Jason Up. And those are the figures because right now it's just me. It's just Jason Up for Series 3. And it's Bone Breaking Action for Series 2. Right now that's all that's all I have going. I've got 3 of the big machos from Latuni, and they're great. Even though all the same pose, I'm thinking I need to buy the other 2 or 3 machos he has and the Legion of Doom. Yep. I think I kind of messed up on the Legion of Doom myself. I didn't realize that, or maybe I misread it, but I think the Legion of Doom, because of the size, I think it was like $180 or $150, 165, something like that. I forget the price. And I think because it was like 165, I just thought, okay, maybe because it's like 10 inches or 12 inches, maybe that's why it's a higher price. So I bought 2 of them, thinking, okay, I was going to need, 2 for 2 of those, and then I saw one for Animal or maybe Hawk, I don't know, and I bought 2 of those. I think I actually doubled up on those, and I don't think I needed to because I think there's not one figure per each. I think there's actually both Legion of Doom for each of those. I think they're just different color schemes. One is all red and the other is like sort of a goldish color. So technically, if you really only need one of each of those, unless you plan on, like me, opening a package and displaying one loose. But for those, because of the price, I probably should have only bought one. So I think I kind of messed myself up on that. I don't know. I think I kind of didn't explain that very well. And I think I even confused myself. But yeah, I definitely confused myself and I definitely ordered way too much. um, but Ahmad tells me that there's like he has to make 10 Macho Man figures. So he has to make 10 Macho Man figures, and we're so there's still several figures he still has to make for Macho Man. And so far we got 89 Macho Man with the white and black. And we got the Mr. Freeze Macho Man. We got the Green Trunks Macho Man. Or excuse me, the pink pants Macho Man. The green one was the Hasbro. We're gonna get the Halloween Fest. I forget what it's called, Macho Man. That one's coming. We're gonna get the sort of Haku Hasbro LJ meets LJN Macho Man uh, with the Macho King with cloth and obviously the crown and scepter Macho King Macho Man. So there's still at least 5 more Macho Man figures coming, and that's gonna make up for the contract that he has for the Macho Man figure or Macho Man character. Um, but all of those, I mean, even with the same pose, I mean, I'm enjoying what he's coming out with. There's also talk that he has about creating sort of like a He-Man meets Macho Man type of deal, or no, he loves Thundercats. Thundercats is like his favorite series, his favorite cartoon. So he wants to create a sort of Macho Man meets Thundercats, and I'm like, hey man, I'd go for it. Like he gave me like a picture design of what he's thinking about. And I'm like, dude, do it. It's freaking awesome. Like I love the idea behind the Mr. Freeze meets Macho Man type of deal. So at first, when he came out with this blue Macho Man, like I looked at him like, what the heck is this? Like I didn't understand it. But as soon as you give me the reference behind the idea of the blue Macho Man, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand the idea now, and it makes sense. And I'm like, I can get behind it. So the blue Macho Man, the Mr. Freeze Macho Man, which I kind of classify as like a Cyclops Macho Man because it reminds me of X-Men. I became a huge fan of it afterwards. So once you understand the reference, it makes a lot of sense. Fortunate to catch the USA one, and it's now sold out. Hey, John, don't worry about the Macho Man being sold out. I did buy an extra one for this sole purpose. Uh, Reach out to me when they do. I think they ship in November. Keep me in mind. I think they were only like $55, maybe 50. I forgot what I paid. Um, I will ship it out to you. Just pay what I paid, and you're good. So just reach out to me when they ship, and I will ship one out to you. Because I wanted to make sure that I had an extra one in case any of my viewers needed one. Because you just know if this stuff reaches eBay, people are gonna start selling this stuff for like $200, and that's ridiculous. I didn't want that to happen. It happens every time. It's stupid. So I bought an extra one for that sole purpose. So just reach out to me, buddy. And it's yours. Oh man, that's good news. Oh, thanks God, bud. All right, man. Mm. Uh, oh man, that tequila whooped my butt. So, oh man, there's one thing today. Oh, before I touch on this, new figures. Before I get into new figures, I do want to harp on something that I brought up last week before. I don't remember. I think it was last week's episode or last week's live stream, and I talked about our. Damn, was it last week? I don't remember, but I asked a question about are customs valuable anymore, and I kind of showed off the has. Yeah, it was last week because I still had the Hasbro customs that I bought, and once I got the Hasbro's in, you had all those broken pieces, and I'm like, these aren't. Couldn't somebody couldn't the customizer couldn't like super glue the head and the arms onto these figures? Like, what the hell? Like, I really regretted buying those, and the seller that I bought them from, a million times out of a million, I've had a positive experience, and I instantly regretted buying those figures from him, and it was just a bad buy. I so I kind of asked the question: are customs still worth investing in? So LJNs. What about LJNs? I love collecting LJNs. I love collecting LJN customs. When I finish collecting LJNs, the only way to keep the line going is through customs. But how many Roddy Piper customs do you need? How many Brutus Beefcake or Hulk Hogan customs? How many Ted DiBiase customs, etc.? So all this money I paid extra for these figures, for these characters, were they really worth it? But then when you start getting into like Kevin Pelkey customs and Random Treasure customs, etc., Sin Bodhi customs, so on. There are other customizers I bought from. There's a million other customizers I bought from, Zash Man and so on. But are they worth it? In reality, I think Random Treasures is probably the only business that really has a market for their figures. And really, are there outside of their actual business, do these figures actually sell well? You can go onto Etsy, you can buy Ram Treasure figures, and you can use their 10% off code, and you can buy their figures for around 125, 130 bucks. But what if I go on Ram Treasures and I buy their figure, and I use a 10% off code, and I get their figure for 130 bucks. I get it in the mail. I immediately take that figure, list it online, and I put it on auction. 99 cents. Free shipping. Nothing has been done. It hasn't been stored. It hasn't been played with. It has been staged. Nothing. Immediately received in hand, pictures taken, stored away. Bam. That figure will usually sell for around $75 or so on eBay. And there is a seller on eBay that I buy from, Barcom84, who sells his Ram Treasure figures. And now, mind you, I own every single Ram Treasure figure that they've created. The only two that I don't own, let me backtrack. The only two that I don't own are their two most recent. That is the Owen Hart and the most recent remake of their version of the new Hulk Hogan, Ichiban Hogan. So they have two Ichiban Hogans. The most recent Ichiban with the Ken Patera. So those are the only two that I don't own. From Barcom, I bought this Sid Vicious months ago. Now, again, I own all these figures from Ram Treasures, but I bought this because it's Sid Vicious. You guys know that Sid Vicious Galoob is my George Washington of action figures, right? From Ram Treasures, I bought Sid Vicious in black. Galoob 2 up, right? So I bought this because it's Sid Vicious in blue singlet, different color scheme. So it was a must-have. Also, think about it this way. Back in December, I was supposed to have a LJN retirement ceremony from David Garland on Etsy, 4 Left 3 Creations. I bought some 2024 LJN retirement, what do they call it? 2024 Hall of Fame stands. And I was retiring 6 LJN figures. And my black singlet, Sid Vicious Galoob 2 Up, was going to be one of those figures that were going to be retired. So if I ever did another LJN, my favorite LJN tournament, the black singlet Sid Vicious was going to be retired, right? He's my, even though he's never won a tournament, he is my George Washington of action figures. He was one of my 6 characters, one of my 6 LJNs that were going to be retired. So getting a blue singlet Sid Vicious still allows this particular figure to participate in future tournaments. So that was awesome. I got this for less than $100. I think like $80 or something, if I can recall correctly. $130 on Ram Treasures, $80 on eBay. How about our beloved Bad News Brown? Same thing. About $130 on Ram Treasures, $80 on eBay. The only reason I got this, mine was in all black because that's Bad News Brown, right? And all red from Barcom. In fact, when I got this, I kind of looked at it as, hey, maybe one day I might want to do my own Playtime Wrestling type of deal or something, and maybe use him as like Ahmed Johnson or something. I can use Bad News Brown and all black as Bad News. Maybe use him as like Ahmed Johnson. Tony Norris, why not? He's in all right. He looks like he can pass for Tony Norris. So that was my thinking, right? Yeah, I still see the basic pink Macho from Bieber on eBay for more than $50 when you can buy it direct from the major varieties. Happens a lot with retro, still available Mattel Creations. Yeah. You know, hey man, you know what? Even for me, when it comes to like zombie sailors, grapplers and gimmicks, same thing with me, man. Like I put on my eBay the prices that I paid for these figures, and sometimes I put up a little bit more because, like, if I buy the Quebecers from Grapples and Gimmicks, and let's say I paid $90. I don't remember what they sold for. Let's say $90 though, and I might put it up on eBay for $110 because if it sells on eBay for $110 after eBay fees, it might only get $90. At this point, I'm not even interested. I don't even care if I earn a profit on it. I just want to make sure that I don't lose money. If I paid $90 for it, I don't want to take $65. And this is why I despise well, I don't want to say despise Grapples and Gimmicks, but this is what annoys me about Grapples and Gimmicks. Zombie Sailor, same way. They keep coming out with these promotions or these advertisements, emails, get your Quebecers before they run out, get your Mark Merrill before they run out, etc. Every couple of months, get this before it runs out, etc. My mind, I have memory problems. And it's like, oh shoot, they got a new figure in. And I completely forget that I bought this item before. So I ended up with like 6 different, probably even more than that, but let's say on a short end, 6 different 2 packs of Diana and British Bulldog. And let's say I paid $90 for each 2 pack. Now I have, okay, I have one set that I opened for my loose collection. I have 1 pack that I'm keeping for my MOC collection. Now I have 4 other sets that I will never be able to sell because people can always go on to Grapples and Gimmicks and buy it directly because it's I'm pretty sure they have a plethora available because who the hell wants that crap? The Diana figure is terrible. The British Bulldog is subpar. And I'm stuck with 4 of them that I can never return back to Grapples and Gimmicks. So yeah, it kind of sucks in that regard that they don't offer refunds or returns. Same thing with Zombie Sailors. When I started getting into Zombie Sailors, all I saw them on eBay was 3-4 times the price of what they were offering in the stores when they initially came out. So I was late to the party in ordering those figures. So when I first started buying Zombie Sailors, actually, getting emails, hey, new figures coming out, I was buying 3 of them at least at a time. Thinking, okay, hey, I'm seeing what these figures were selling for before. Let me be smart about this. If they're selling for $120 a figure, let me buy 3. $40 a pop, I'll pay $120. I can sell 1 for $120 because that's the going rate for a lot of these figures. I'll sell 1 for $120. It'll cover the first figure I paid for, the one I just sold. It'll cover the 2 that I just bought for myself, MOC and loose. I basically got my 2 figures for free. That was my mindset. Not realizing that in a short period of time that I will come to realize what most people realize. Zombie Sailors toys are absolute trash. Nobody wants that crap. If they wanted it, they would have bought it during pre-order. And now I'm stuck with a bunch of Zombie Sailor figures that nobody wants. Now, you could put it up on auction and somebody will probably buy it for around $20. But if you're thinking you're going to sell that junk for like $40, but you paid for it, it's not going to happen. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose the money I paid into it. I got to be a smart businessman of sorts. But it's taking up so much, well, not so much space, but it's taking up space that I don't want to use. So, do I just say screw it one day, put it up for 99 cents, and if it sells for like $14, then just eat that money? Or do I just say, you know what? Keep it up on my listings forever. 25 years from now, if it sells for X amount of money, then it sells then. Like, do you want to wait 2 years, 5 years for something to sell? I really don't. So I'm kind of stuck. So I definitely hear what you're saying, though. It's better to buy from the company directly than just to buy from an eBay seller who's going to mark the price up a little bit higher, especially with shipping costs involved. And I think Zombie Sailors charges you shipping, so screw them, right? But Grapples and Gimmicks, I think they offer you free shipping. I still only have the first Punk Zombie Sailors because I'm a Punk fan and it comes with Larry, but it's terrible. Oh, God. Oh, man. I think the CM Punk might be the worst action figure ever created. I think about Hasbro Series 1 Rick Rude. I think about the LJN Rick Rude or the LJN Jimmy Snuka. Okay. I think about the original San Francisco Macho Man. I think Zombie Sailors CM Punk might be right up there among the worst action figures ever created. That one is straight trash. And then they actually have the audacity to come out with a pink pants. You know what? I was so done with zombie sailors. I didn't even buy the pink pants variant. Here's the thing, guys. I am a completionist. I am a completionist and I buy everything. I buy everything and I didn't buy that figure. I didn't even buy one. That just tells you how bad that figure is. And my God, I'm looking at my screen and everything is so freaking blurry. Guys, we're at 55 minutes and we're probably going to go like an hour and a half or more. And I'm sorry to tell you, but I am like everything is blurry as heck. Hopefully you guys are okay and can still understand me, but I'm probably going to be pretty messed up this video. I have not even touched on most of the stuff that I wrote down for today's discussion. I'm sorry. Man. Oh, just kind of looking at this first note that I saw. I have not filmed a magazine review video for tomorrow. So there's going to be no Sunday video. And I knew I hadn't filmed anything yet. And I was like, that's okay. Let's be honest. I know sometimes like the Sunday videos, the magazine review videos have been a lot of fun for me to film, but sometimes like it kind of feels like work. Like sometimes I'm like, oh man, I gotta film a magazine review. A lot of time it's enjoyment. Like when I'm actually filming the magazine reviews, it's fun. Like I really enjoy going through the magazines. But it's like watching a TV show. Like if you're watching a show, it's like, man, I gotta watch. It's like Supernatural. I love Supernatural. Probably one of the top 10 greatest TV shows ever created. But there was like a time in like 2010 or 2018 or so, like I would come home from like Raytheon and I'd be going through my DVR or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch Supernatural. That's one of the shows that's on my DVR, and I gotta get rid of that to delete it off the DVR. And like I wouldn't want to watch Supernatural, one of the greatest freaking shows ever. But I would not want to watch that freaking show at all. Now, when you're actually watching the show, it's freaking amazing. But it was such a hassle to actually force yourself to put it on and watch it. I feel like the magazine reviews are the same way. Like it's such a pain in the ass to actually get to the point to go downstairs, pull out a magazine, and actually start filming yourself, talking about it. Now, when you're actually doing it, yeah, it's fine. But so with magazines, when I was getting like 700 views per magazine review video, 900 views, 1,000 views, 1,500 views per magazine, I'm like, hell freaking yeah. Every freaking week, I need to do a magazine review video. But then over the last few weeks, when the magazine reviews start getting like 200 views, 250, this last magazine review video, it's been up almost a full week and we're only at like 96 views. I'm like, okay. I think people are getting tired of magazine reviews. So instead of doing it on a weekly basis, maybe I do it every other week or something. So yeah, for tomorrow, no magazine reviews. And I think that's fine. I can miss a week here and there. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. And still a terrible head sculpt and weird neck. I missed the first Punk pre-order and passed on the pink ZST. Yep. Hey, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, and John, that Punk, man. I mean, to be honest, that CM Punk pink would have been the one I would have chosen if I had the option. I would have rather had the pink version, the first option, but only because it was like more Hitman color scheme compared to the first option. But oh, oh, so bad. Oh, oh, oh. I don't know if you're ever gonna tune in, Jason, but Jason, if you ever watch this video, leave a comment. I want to know your opinion. I want to tell you my opinion. So I saw Jason's action figure. I mean, it's his action figure. He says that this is his choice, and I'm like, hey, if that's what you want, all the power to you, buddy. But for me personally, if I'm fronting the bill, me personally, this is how I feel. I kind of want more than a Greg Valentine. I kind of want something more detailed, something more like I saw his live benching. I've noticed it for a couple years now. His Roddy Piper custom that a fan viewer of his sent him. Something like that was nice. I wouldn't have used Roddy Piper, of course, but it had more color, more detail to it. And using kind of Greg Valentine was kind of simple. Sin Bodhi is an amazing customizer. I would have gone with something a little bit more